I'm Brian Morris. I started, my family's been in the cigar industry for a long time. My father's prep school roommate is one of the largest tobacco producers in Nicaragua. I always grew up around cigars and cigar smoke, and it was something my dad was very passionate about. But I never really understood what it was that was so special about this thing that he smoked all the time, and the reason why our house was filled with smoke.
And the ceiling like this.
Yeah. So anyway, I decided after September 11th that I really wanted to do something for this country. I joined the military as a weather forecaster in the Air Force. And I worked with many different military units and a lot of different pilot units. I worked a lot with aviation. So one thing that was very common wherever I went is that we would get together and we would join after a mission or after some sort of long week, and we would sit down and smoke cigars together. And I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed that time. It was a time of camaraderie and brotherhood, and it was what bonded a bunch of different people that grew up in different environments, that are stressed out in these different environments, and we could sit together no matter what happened at the end of the week and light up this piece of art. And it's such an art. I mean, a cigar, 300 people work on it before it gets to where it is right now, before you smoke it. We've been perfecting this art for hundreds of years, and you can come here and just for under $10, you can get a great experience that a lot of work and effort has gone into. And one of the most special things about it is this. If you look around, there's such a unique group of people here. We may never talk to each other if we were in a bar or any other environment, but this atmosphere that's created in a retail cigar store is very special. And I visit over 400 retail cigar shops. My father wrote a book, and in that book he has a chapter that says, it's called Life is a Good Cigar Shop. And it envelops the philosophy that people create this atmosphere that's unlike anything else. And people that don't smoke cigars and visit places like this don't understand it. I came to a realization this morning. I had a wonderful time playing dominoes and hanging out with these gentlemen last night. We just signed on with this brand, Aging Room Boutique Blends. And it's my first time traveling with Rafael and his son Carlos. And I had a feeling this morning where I really felt like last night was a family experience. And I consider these guys family. I've been traveling with them for 2 days. My dad started a cigar company, basically building craft cigar companies for families in different regions of Central America. And I got to work with my dad, and I really love doing that. I really kind of like following in his footsteps now that I understand his passion for smoking cigars, and it's become a big passion of mine. We signed on with Boutique Blends because we really love these cigars, and there's something very special about what Rafael has done, and the direction that he's going is unlike any other company out there. I really believe in these products. I really believe in their family, and I consider them family now. But I want you guys to be able to smoke his cigars, learn a little bit about his history and how these cigars came about, and this is a guy that you need to get behind. It's very hard to find somebody that's genuinely so passionate about what they're doing that they're going to devote their life, their family, and all of their resources to it. And there's nobody else that is doing it like Rafael. So
one day I was administrator of a hospital, and one of my employees said, "Rafael, come and meet this guy that reminds me of you." And at the time, I was very fat, more than now. And I went to a place in Little Havana called Nick Cigars. It was not even Perdomo cigar at the time. And I met this guy, Nick Perdomo, who was very fat as well. He's no longer fat, and he lost a lot of weight. And I bought my first box of cigars. And I smoked my first cigar, and I talked to Nick Perdomo. And most of you know Nick, very charismatic guy, unbelievable. And I came back to my house and I told my wife, I am going to the cigar business. I'm giving up this healthcare thing. I am tired of this. And there was not even Obamacare at the time. Can you imagine? So that was my first introduction to cigars. But obviously, being Cuban, my history of cigars started a long time ago. I was born in Cuba, and I came to this country in 1980, which was a big flotilla that came from Cuba, and 125,000 people came. And if you guys see the Scarface movie, at the beginning, you got all these Cubans coming in boats. And I came in a boat that it was 300 people. I was 15 years old, and came with my mom, my dad, and two sisters. One of my sisters decided to stay in Cuba. She was 18, and she thought that this guy that she was her boyfriend was the guy of her life. And so she decided to stay in communist Cuba for this guy. Needless to say that she didn't last there very long, and she ended up coming later. But we came on this boat. We spent 4 days on the sea just to get here. We thought a lot of people died in the way here. And when I got to Key West, the first thing they gave me was a Coke and an apple. I never seen a Coke or an apple in my life, and I was 15. And that for me is a sign of freedom. Coke and apple, you know, hey, you know, can you imagine? Oh my God, you know, I'm kissing the land, the soil, and an apple and a Coca-Cola. I went to New York. I studied music. I was 15, and music has been my passion. I play violin. Actually, what I wanted to be was a drummer, and I was 6 years old. I wanted to play drums. So someone gave me a little drum set, and I went to school. Being a communist country, everything is dictated by the government. They said, "Oh, sorry, no drums for you." It's like a soup Nazi type of thing. For you, violin. Like, you know, a 6-year-old with a violin. Needless to say, I got beat up many times in my school because of carrying a violin and all those things. And it was very difficult. But I got here, and I went to New York immediately, and studied a very good school of music. So music was my passion. Cigars in Cuba, a lot of people in the cigar business, because it's always been there. It's a very big industry. But I never smoked cigar. I smoked cigarettes, and I really never thought that I was going to do anything related to that. So music was my passion. I really didn't like farms. So I wanted to be in a theater with music and well-dressed and this and this and that. But when you're an immigrant in this country, or any other country for that matter, things, you know, don't relate to the way you want. And I moved to Miami in '83. My family wanted to be in Miami, like all Cubans wanted to be in Miami. And of course, you guys know, great food we have there, great coffee, great rum, great cigars, great music. And the weather is not bad, and the beaches and the women are not bad either. And so I was glad to be there. But it was very difficult in music, so I started in healthcare and got my first job. A doctor of a friend of ours that was giving money to an opera group that I conducted found me a job, in the hospital, cleaning floors. That was my first job, cleaning floors in the hospital. I was 19, and 4 years later I became the director of finance of that hospital, and then I became the administrator of the hospital. I then went with the national company as executive director, and we bought and sold hospitals, and we transformed non-for-profit hospital to for-profit hospital. So that was great business, but it was all about money. It was all about this, and then the insurance and all this. So when I met Nick, I said, wow, this is a guy, right, that has a tremendous amount of passion for what he does. I have passion, but it's hard to have a passion about selling and buying the hospital and these things, and you know, that was not what I wanted to do. So I smoked my first cigars, and I said, wow, this is great. And my wife, at the time, psychiatrist, and wanted, also her family have always been on tobacco and cigars, and I said, wow, this is great. So I started on the cigar business, but I didn't know how difficult it was going to be. And God works in a mysterious way because He put me to a series of tremendous, very difficult challenges. And cigar has been the most difficult thing that I have done in my life. And I started making cigar with Nick, and then I opened my own factory. Problem number one, I shouldn't have. Then I started buying tobacco. Put all my, told my wife one day, you know, all this money that I got in 401k plans and all this money that I got in stocks and all this money, I'm going to put it on cigars and I'm going to put it on tobacco and let's buy tobacco and let's have this. Huge problem because, you know, I didn't know what I was doing, and people tell you this great tobacco and then they give you the bad tobacco and all these things, and my cigars were average. Cigar, it's okay, cigar, you know. And I try to do the same thing that everyone is trying to do. Like the Tadis and the big companies, and I couldn't compete with them. They have a lot of money, a lot of resources, which I don't have. So my wife insisted on me leaving the business, and I was very strong-headed. I said, well, if other people do it, why I cannot do it? So I continued because I want to finish everything that I start. And we had a brand called Oliveros. That was my first brand. That was not going anywhere. And then I decided, after my wife said, if this doesn't work in 5 years, you have to be out, because she's a doctor and she wants to retire, and obviously we had all this on no money. And we said, well, we're going to start thinking from zero, and we're going to start. And one thing that I have is a tremendous amount of good tobacco that have been aged for a long, long, long time. And I said, well, what does a big company have that I don't have? A lot of money and a lot of things, but they don't have what I have, a small amount of tobacco. Because if you think about it, if you're a big corporation and you're making 1 million cigars, then you have to buy a tremendous amount of tobacco. But I had all this small amount of great tobacco aged for a long time. And I decided to put my first small batch, which was this one, the M356. And this cigar, I took tobacco, 30-year-old, I put the wrapper, the binder, and filler, everything from the same farm, and did a very controlled small production. Immediately. Got one of the top cigars of that year, Havana. In Europe, the following year, we competed with Europe, with Cuba. We also got the highest rating. Then last year, I introduced the Cuatro.
Yes. Interject real quick. You want to tell them where the aging room name came from?
Good. We made another brand called Swag. It was my first brand before the aging room, and then we did a tremendous, great blend. And but again, at the time, none of my stars were aligned, if you will, and we find out that this great blend, we have very little tobacco, that we just couldn't make that brand. And we changed the blend, and we came out with our first swag, which was a Puro Dominicano. Then we make those selection of cigars, we keep them there in the humidor, and that's what we will smoke. So everyone that came to the factory said, Raf, give me one of the cigars you're smoking. Okay, give me one of the cigars from the aging room. And it became that we got a lot of visitors, give me one of the cigars from the aging room. Small production. Then the following year, the IPCPR came, there's a trade show where we present all the cigars, and we said, what are we going to do? We don't have anything. And said, wait a minute, we have these cigars aged, very small, let's do a small batch. And M356, which by the way, I put the names of, because I do a lot of blends, a lot of different blends, we put the day that we did, Monday 356th day of the year, that's the name M356. And that, I tell you, changed our life. And so that's what happened with women tell you, you know, put the pressure, you know, listen guys, because I tell you it works when a woman tell you that. Especially I'm in my second marriage, so I learned very well. I say yes honey to everything they say. We had a wonderful relationship because I'm never home either. Last year it was 63 nights out of the whole year at home. So there's no time to fight as well, and I don't get to do anything at home, which is great. So all the military guys can relate to that. But so that was my first release. Then the following year came, and we had a good success with that. I said, what are we going to do? And the stars already start aligning, right? So I go to my distributors in Germany just to visit them. They started selling this in Europe, was doing very well. And I saw a lot of tobacco that they were not using. I said, what is this? Oh, they showed me. Tobacco from the year 2003 from Sumatra, Indonesia. And it was like, boom, like a light, like a movie. It really was like a movie. A light like come in and turn, and I said, let me buy it. Of course, take it all. I said, no, I don't have the money. Let me take this part. No, take it all and pay me when you can. I said, no. I'll took what I could pay. Brought it to Dominican, and let me just tell you, it was a fantastic cigar. I blended with my Dominican blend that I have, and that did very good. So we made a decision, really. We're not going to make more cigars than we can just to supply the market. What we want is to make a specific amount based on the tobacco that I have, and we continue that small production. A lot of people got mad, we need more boxes, we need more, and we just continue our philosophy of making only the cigars that we're not ready, we're going to ship it, things like that. Then this year, we have this show again, and we said, what are we going to do? Well, we had a tremendous amount of success with this blend, and I had two options. One was to pay my debt this year, make some money and get out, or just continue the thing, or reinvest it in the business and continue the growth. I have my kids that they eat a lot and they need a lot of money because they eat a lot, and Cuban food is inexpensive, thanks God, but still they eat too much. So I said, what are we going to do well, I do too, but that's another story. What are we going to do to continue the growth? So this year I introduced 4 different blends. One is the M20. Now the M20 cigar, we could only do it in one size. Now these cigars, have you anyone tried any other cigar with a Mexican wrapper? Have you heard?
Yeah.
Mexican? Yeah. A few years ago, and actually there are rumors that a big company, very famous company, uses this wrapper, and don't call it Mexican because it's not a nice name, because you got Nicaragua, but not Mexican. So this San Andres, if you go to this valley, it's an unbelievable valley. And when you go there, you immediately know that it's great tobacco, because for good tobacco, just like Cuba and some parts of Nicaragua, you have to know the right conditions. It normally is in a valley surrounded by some mountains, and from the mountains you get all the soil that comes down, all the mineral from that mountain, and the weather has to be a microclimate that is cold at nights, hot at day, during the day, and it's fantastic. So this is come from there. We aged it 8 years, and the tobacco inside is 14 years old. So this is a very unique cigar with a lot of flavor. Now we did it in a small way, because my idea is I'm creating now, and many of the others, Fuentes has and like that. When you smoke this cigar and it starts opening up, then the flavor opens, and it becomes an experience because you get more flavor with it. Now, Cigar Aficionado, when rated these cigars, they go and they tell you have some orange tasting and some leathery taste. I'm not an expert like that, so I don't get the leather and the different things. But I can tell you that it is a good cigar. That's what I can tell you. I like it, and that. Then I'm
smoking one right now. They're really good.
Oh, thank you very much. Then we released La Boheme, and La Boheme incorporates 3 of my passions: music, which I couldn't make a living out, and La Boheme is a famous opera from Puccini, and we have before here actually one singer that sung that a few times, and I incorporated what I believe was the flavor of, I remember some old Cuban cigar that people brought me when I was small. I started, that my father will smell smoke, and I will smell it. And I said, what can I do? So I said, what is the Cuban taste that will be from before? And I did this blend, La Boheme. Well, 2 days ago, got rated 91 out of 100 by Cigar Aficionado. And we did this small one that you guys getting to taste it. Personally, I don't like small cigars. I don't have, I prefer more time, but I do smoke a lot of cigars a day. But we did this cigar, and let me tell you, it became my favorite in the office. Because when I get a big cigar like this, I'm talking, I'm smoking, I'm drinking, and I don't have the time sometimes to smoke the whole cigar. And this I was asking the doctors who were smoking this outside, that smoke cigars many times, they're just like afterthought in the line, and they perhaps use whatever they have there, they put it there. And we wanted to blend every cigar the same way, to pay the attention to the detail and the same aged tobacco. Of course, keep in mind that if we have a leaf and we put it here, we cut it, we lose some of that, a lot of tobacco we lose. So, But instead of putting just the rezago, which is what we call the leftover of another cigar, and put it there, we use the leaf, and that's why when you smoke the cigar, he was mentioning another cigar from Nick that is the small Cameroon Corona. The idea is to have that, to have a cigar, a full experience of the cigar in a small cigar for a long time. So that's what La Buen, the small one that you have provided.
And we also make that in 3 other sizes.
In regular sizes, in big sizes and things like that. But that you're trying, so I felt bad giving you the small one, but like I said, economy is bad, so get this cheaper cigar anyway. But it's not really cheap because I use almost the same tobacco that I use in the big one. That was my point. However, my philosophy of blending, all the companies have different people, different philosophy. My philosophy of blending is a lot of flavor. How can I get flavor in the cigar? Now, most of cigar smoker will smoke a cigar like that and will not be able to tell you that it's a Dominican cigar. Will think that it's a Nicaragua, that it's a Honduran cigar, and that's what we try to get, a lot of flavor, and that's my philosophy. My whole business model is based on creating, and creating. Instead of making one brand that if did well, it continue. I am bound by the amount of tobacco that I have for that release. When it's gone, and we move to the next. Not by the success. So it's doing well, I'm going to continue selling. It's not doing well, we're going to eliminate it and try another one. So it has been a successful strategy for us, and that's what we do. I am extremely glad that my wife gave me 5 years to see, because I'm in the 3.5 year of when she said that, and things are going. As a matter of fact, this year we have several offers of people to buy the company. As you don't know, if you know, there's a lot of consolidation in the cigar market, and I was very surprised when my wife said, no, you can do 5 or 10 more years. Come on, stay in the business. I'm starting to believe that she prefers me to be out of home instead of home.
That some of that 56 days a year has something to do with that.
I think so, because as soon as I'm the whole weekend at home, she's, when is your next trip? I happen to snore more now, or things like that. So it's been a family support. My kids, which when they were young, I was never there, because always traveling, always doing this with the factory, the farms, or the stores, or many other countries. The idea is that this is a family business, and if it wasn't for family, Carlos and my other son Rafael, that has really helped us a lot, understanding for my wife. So at the end, I think for something, any business to happen, you have to have the support of your family, to believe in God, to continue to try it, and when you fell down, do it again. And I'm just extremely happy that I was able to hang in there, because many times that I didn't have money to do anything, I said, I'm tired of this. I want to be like the doctor and have the car outside. But you know what? I'm going to go back to the hospital. But Obamacare came, and I said, well, I cannot go back to the hospital now. I have to make it there. So it's great to know that I have to make it, and that's what we decided to do it. And my philosophy of blending is catching on. As a matter of fact, since I started the small batches, many new companies have a small batches production and things like that. And I am very happy that is, I don't feel like they're copying, but I feel like my philosophy was right. Consumers are tired of mass productions, just like we were having another great scotch and whiskey actually, and we said, well, let's try this, because this one is fantastic, has a sweet flavor, and that's what I try to do. So when you blend my cigar, or you taste it with some other with drinks, these cigars will go extremely good with anything that is well aged and has some sweetness flavors to it, like this particular scotch that we have, because it enhances the flavor, and that's what we look on that. Some of my blends on the smaller one will go with more drier drinks. So you have a whiskey scotch that is rye, for example, that has some dry, will go very well with mild. So that's my philosophy, that's our cigars, and I want to say thank you to you guys for having me here and allowing me to be first time here. And yes, I had a fantastic time. We ended up getting to the hotel last night about 2 o'clock in the morning there, and we ate like on the way there at 1 o'clock in the morning driving.
Taco Bell, right?
Taco Bell. But you know what? It feels like home. It feels like I'm meeting friends, and I'm happy to know that that you guys know, Nick, intimate, and taking care of the families of some of you guys. And it's an amazing friendship that you form around the world. And we're fighting against the government these days, unfortunately. I was asked in Russia, I was in Russia the other day, and we had a TV interview, and I said, who's your biggest competitor? And I said, the federal government, the United States.
The FDA.
And like, what do you mean? They make cigars? This was the interviewer said, do they make cigars? I said, no. They were expecting, I would say, Nick or Patron or Fuentes. No, it's the federal government that is trying me every single day to put me out of business. So we not only trying to do cigars, we're fighting against this bureaucracy that sometimes, unfortunately, people like you guys that are giving your life or put your lives on the line for this, we are taking our freedom more and more in every aspect of our society. So when I smoke a cigar, for me, it's not just smoking a cigar, it's like being a patriot, because these days if you have a 16-ounce Coke in New York or you have a cigar, you're defying the government because they want to control your life. And I came from a communist country that they control healthcare, they control everything, and God bless you. And I feel that that's what I'm doing. So I feel like I'm not fighting like you guys who are putting your life on the line like you are. I feel very small making cigars, but I feel in a way we're contributing to liberty and freedom in this country, and that's what I came.